Next comes stealth seduction, and the key things going on here are that I want it to be rejection proof. So I want to escalate without any chance of rejection. I want to be totally comfortable with it. It needs to be very smooth, and it needs to demonstrate attractive qualities. So we're going to be doing things that are playful, that are confident, that are sexual, that are secretive, and there's going to be tons of stuff going on. We're going to use every mode of communication. We're going to use our bodies, we're going to use our eyes, we're going to use verbal game, and everything's going to come together to create a really, really strong sexual chemistry that's going to make the attraction just go through the roof. First part of this, and all of these things are going on at once, but I'm going to break them down into sections. And the first thing that's going to be going on is something that I call micro-escalation. If you think about traditional pickup ways of escalating, you will generally see that they say, start with a touch on the arm, and then, notice her nails or notice her hand, talk about palm reading, have an excuse to touch her hair, and basically to escalate maybe in a 5 or 6 step process. But a lot of guys still have problems going for the kiss. They're either going to try and do it verbally, where they say something like, you look like you're imagining kissing me, or can I kiss you? Or guys that haven't studied a lot of game stuff but are quite confident would just lunge in. So they'll be standing there and then they'll just suddenly put the arm round and try and kiss her. Problem with this is putting it all on the line. So if you can think about it, if you have to go for one of these moments, in the minutes leading up to those moments, you're not going to be focused on her. You're going to be in your head thinking, is it going to go well? You're going to be nervous. You might start to show a little bit of nervousness because you've really created a drum roll moment, a moment where you're going to put it all on the line, you're going to go for it. It's either going to be a harsh rejection or it's going to go really, really well. What I've tried to do with micro-escalation is take everything that you do and put it on a scale of 0 to 100, with 0 being not sexual at all, so just how you talk to a friend, and 100 being extremely sexual, how you talk to a girl just right before you kiss her. So just that moment where there's just huge sexual tension. And instead of thinking of it in the traditional way, meaning you start to get a bit closer and you ask her something and then you go for the kiss, it's really the concept that you can have any of these tools lead into the kiss. So you could seduce her while she's talking, you could seduce her when no one's talking, you could seduce her when you're talking, you can seduce her verbally, non-verbally, in all these different ways. So I'm going to give a few examples of micro-escalation. If I'm talking to someone normally, I'm just going to be talking like this. So I might be moving relatively quickly, gesturing. I might have a similar eye contact with her as I might with a friend or a family member, so there's going to be nothing different in the eye contact. So in this situation, there's no sexual tension, there's no real pressure, her heart rate's not increasing. To start to seduce her verbally, if I'm doing most of the talking, I just need to slow down, to smooth out, to change the way that I look at her, to close that distance, to look at her mouth more than before, and basically look at her like I'm trying to kiss her, slow down, smooth out. And a really important thing is to introduce pauses, because when you pause, that's where the sexual tension happens. Pause plus eye contact. So that's something that I teach, is that you can seduce a girl when you're talking, but sometimes you meet a girl that is just doing all the talking and she just won't stop. And she's talking about something that is completely unsexy. She's talking about her job, she's talking about, her holiday or her friend, and you're just there and you're like, how do I seduce this girl? Because, I know how to do it when I'm talking because I can be all seductive, but now she's talking, so what the hell do I do? And again, you can still escalate when she's talking. So I don't know if you want to tell me about something.
Yeah, my favourite track at the moment is...
And that's a great response. If you can throw her off what she's saying and make her forget what she's saying and, go like that for a second, what's going on in that moment? She's feeling the sexual tension, she's feeling the pressure, you're coming across as really confident and cool, but you've done it in a way that's not a massive move. You've not lunged in. You've done nothing that she can say, whoa, what are you doing? All it is a subtle way that you're looking at her, and the obvious thing that you're not listening anymore. So she's talking, you're like, yeah, I don't really care, That's kind of what you're projecting. I'm not listening, I just want to kiss you. So if you've got a girl that just goes on and you're getting a bit bored, and maybe, a lot of girls, they're not so confident about kissing, or sexual tension. And she might feel nervous, and so she starts, just talking too much. A lot of people talk too much when they're nervous, and that's a way that you can deal with it. And that's the kind of response you're looking for. You want her to kind of get thrown off her stride and be like, blush. And, a girl that is very confident might keep talking and slow down and keep it there, and then you could kiss her. But either way, that's what's going on. A lot of guys really kill the sexual tension another way. So in a noisy club, common thing I see when I watch guys is I see them talking in the girl's ear, and it all goes to hell when that happens. Reason is they'd be fine at this kind of range, they've got eye contact, but as soon as they start talking in the ear, they start, blah, 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 like that, and the eye contact completely goes. When there's no eye contact at all, what's going on is she's free to look around the room. So there's no eye contact when I'm talking to her, no eye contact when she's talking to me, so she's looking around the room. In a busy nightclub, what's she doing? She's looking at people at the bar saying, oh, actually, I want a drink. She's looking at people dancing. Oh, I like this song too. I want to go and dance. She sees people going out to smoke. She's like, oh, yeah, I fancy a cigarette. She's looking around the room. She's noticing things. Maybe she sees someone she knows. So when you haven't got eye contact, you're massively increasing the chance that she's just going to leave. And you've also got no way of building sexual tension. So the first thing I try and do is, anytime I'm talking in a girl's ear, I want to keep as much eye contact as possible. So I'm going in to talk in her ear, I'm getting close, but I'm keeping that eye contact. I'm listening to her, and I'm keeping that eye contact as well. That's a way to slightly increase things. But like I said, we can put everything on that 0 to 100 scale. So if I were just talking to a friend, I might be like this. I mean, yeah, blah, blah, blah. That would be fine. That's how you might talk to a guy. If you want to increase it slightly and be a bit more sexual, you put the arm round, you get a little bit closer. If you want to make it more sexual, your arm will go from being somewhere like this to being here when you talk in the ear. It's a very light touch, but it's in a more sexual place. If you want to dial it up a bit more, you're going to go and you're going to get closer. So you're going to talk, but your cheek's going to be touching, and there might be some brushing back. If you want to take it up even more, when you go to talk in the ear, it's going to be almost like you're going to go in and kiss her, and then you're going to go back, and then you're going to listen to her, and then you're going to talk in the other ear, and it's going to become quite sexual. If you want to take it up another notch, but already we're at the point that you wouldn't do this when you're talking to a friend. So it's a nice escalation, but it's done very, very smoothly. You're not going from doing this to then suddenly kissing her. You're going to get a sense for, whether she's interested or not. And it's going to be done so smoothly that she'll probably just keep saying yes and keep being cool with it. If you want to dial it up more, I would have some contact leg to leg. So this is something that you'll never do with a male friend. You'll never be talking to a male friend and having your leg touching. So it's a feeling that she'd only have with a guy that she was involved with. So I'll be talking to her, legs touching. I'll be putting the hands around the head when I talk. I'll be going back like this, and then I'll be talking in the other ear, and it's something that will create a lot of intimacy. From that position, it's quite easy to lead into the kiss, obviously, because you're slowed down to the right speed, you're really close, your bodies are very close, and something that you can also do is you can have a little kiss on the cheek as well while you're there as a way to lead into it. So you can escalate when you're talking, you can escalate when she's talking, you can escalate when, just by the way you're interacting with her when you're talking in her ear. The idea is that you're using your whole body, and everything can be on that 0 to 100 scale. So I'm not here thinking, all right, I want to go for the kiss, would you like to kiss me? Or, right, I want to go for the kiss, come here, It's all done really slowly and gradually. Think of it like this. It's like the frog that you put in the boiling water and it jumps out, because suddenly it's in the boiling water. It was nice and, cool, and then suddenly it's in the boiling water, so it jumps out, versus the frog that you put in the water and then turn up the heat, and it stays in there and it dies. All right? That's what you're doing to the woman, except the outcome is nice, it's a kiss. So instead of saying, you know, is this all right? I'm going to kiss you suddenly. And she's like, whoa. You're saying, is it all right if I just get a little bit closer? Is it all right if I put my hand here when I talk to you? Is it all right if I come a bit closer? And she's going to say yes to all of those because each increment is really, really small. So you can break it down into such smooth movements that she's just going to accept every part of it. But the cool thing is you don't have to take an hour. You can do it all within 30 seconds. So that entire sequence of talking in the ear, it could start like that. 10 seconds later, it could be a bit more intense. And within 30 seconds, you could get to the point where you can actually kiss her. Another little trick I'll use to increase the sexual tension and get into the position to go for the kiss, or at least really dial things up, is I might ask her a question and behave like this. So I might say something like, what's your favorite food?
Pizza.
Pardon?
Pizza.
Pardon?
Pizza.
What was it? Pasta.
Pizza.
So I've done something very playful. I'm pretending I can't hear, and I'm using it as an excuse to get really, really close and intimate with her. Pardon?
Pizza.
Huh? What?
You could hear me, pizza.
Pasta. Oh yeah, I like pasta too. So that's what you're going to do. It's very, very playful, but you're going to get into a position where it's getting quite sexual. But she's going to be cool with it because it's not that serious kind of approach. Something quite nice to do as well is to combine two elements. So we've got micro-escalation, which I'm going to cover, which I've covered, and we've got multi-level communication, which I'm going to cover later. Multi-level communication is the idea that you're going to communicate one way verbally and one way physically. So you might be really boring and normal verbally and really sexual non-verbally. So I'm going to give a little example of how you can use this stuff in a covert way and really turn a girl on. So if you want to stand here and face me. I've used this a bunch of times in clubs and it works really well. And I know it works well because the girls remember it. So they'll meet me a month later and they'll be like, oh, do you remember that night? And I was like, no. And then I think about, oh, I did that stuff, you know. So I know that it creates a really strong impression. This combines a lot of the elements that I talked about. It's the playfulness, it's the secrecy, it's the confidence, it's doing things that other guys will never do, and it's creating a unique experience for the girl. So something that I'll do is I'll meet the girl, and she might be with a guy or with a group. And what I'll do is I'll be talking to her, and when I'm talking to her like that, I'll be, oh yeah, and then I'll go back and be like, oh really? Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I think so too. And yeah, that's quite interesting. Oh, and do you know what? Something I think it's like, and yeah, I'm not sure about that either. Yeah, so what we've got is two things going on. When I'm close to her, very sexual, and then I back up and I've got these, I can even be really AFC. I could be breaking eye contact and fidgeting if I really want to do it. But there's a guy there and all he sees is someone going, oh yeah, like this. It's a really boring conversation. So if I saw a guy doing that and talking to my girlfriend, would I think he's a threat? No, of course not. But when I come in, I'm very sexual, but in such a subtle way that he's not going to know what's going on. So it's just the way I'm looking at her. It's all, you know, slowed down and smooth. This might be a little bit of leg contact or stuff like that. And then I'm backing up and my facial expression changes. It goes to, you know, being very normal. So that allows you to covertly seduce a girl in front of people that she might not want to know what's going on, or that you might not want to know what's going on. When you do that, you're showing the girl that you're subtle, that you're confident, you're ticking loads of boxes, and probably the most interesting one is that it's exciting. So she knows that she's being seduced and no one else in the room can tell what's going on, and that these people that she's with, that she knows really well, they don't even know what's going on. So that's something that combines a couple of elements, but it's something really powerful. And again, something that you want to be thinking about is, if you do a lot of this stuff, you're going to keep giving a girl multiple experiences that she's never had before in her life. She's never been tactile open. She's never been micro escalated. So you do this stuff and stack it up, and she's got an amazing memory of, you know, the half an hour or whatever it was that you've spent together. The next component of stealth seduction is conversation control. So this is the conversational, the verbal element of what's going on. So it's at the same time as micro-escalation, and it's layered on top, and there's a lot of things even within conversation control. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down some of the stuff that I do conversationally when I'm talking to girls, and I'm going to tell you why I'm doing them, why they work, and give you a few examples. First thing that I do is I use a lot of future pacing. Anyone that's read a lot of pickup literature will know that one of the methods teaches that you should bounce a girl around lots of locations. That means you meet her in the bar and you don't just stand talking to her for 3 hours and then try and get her home. You move her around the club, you take her maybe to eat something, you take her to a few different venues, and what goes on is it seems like time's been longer than it actually has in her head. So because she's got memories with you in all these different places, it allows you to escalate faster. I might do that, but I would definitely do this. I use future pacing. So I try and find a lot of ways to get her thinking about future situations with me. And I actually find this better than bouncing around multiple locations, because it deals with one of the objections that she might have. She might be thinking, I like this guy, I want to sleep with him, but he might not want to see me again. So that's a common objection that a girl has to sex. So I'm talking to her and I'm trying to set up all of these things. I'm getting her to think about things we're going to do in future. And because of that, she's going to imagine that we've got, you know, a chance of seeing each other again, and we've got a relationship forming. So examples of the way I might do this is we might just be talking and I say, oh, you know, I really like cocktails. Do you like cocktails?
Oh, I love cocktails.
You know what, there's this fantastic cocktail, but I've got to take you there. They do this really nice raspberry one. Do you like berry cocktails? It's awesome. We've got to go there for sure. So we've set up one date there, one date that she can be thinking about, that she's imagined. I could say, yeah, I met this friend of mine, and you know, we were talking about films and stuff, and their favourite film's Meet Joe Black. Have you seen it?
I haven't.
You know what, it's so amazing. I was just thinking about it. I want to watch it again. I should totally, you know, we should get it. I think I've got it on DVD. I'm going to find it, and then we'll have a movie night. We're going to watch Meet Joe Black.
Definitely.
I bet you're going to cry. All right?
I hope not.
Second date. Could say something like, you know, when I was young, I used to go to the park and, you know, feed the ducks and squirrels and things like that. It's so cool. I walked through the park today and I was thinking, you know, I might like to do that again. Did you used to do that when you were a kid?
I did. I haven't gone in ages.
I tell you what, next nice day, you know, when it's nice and sunny, we get some, you know, food, some peanuts for the squirrels and stuff, and we'll go walk around and, you know, do some stuff in the park. That'd be really nice.
Cool.
So I'll do that, and I might come up with 5 or 10 things we can do together. It could be places that you're going to go. It could be a club that she's never been to that you're going to take her to. It could be a type of food. She's like, what's your favourite type of food?
Pizza.
Pizza. You know what? In Notting Hill, there's this pizza restaurant. It's called Luna Rossa, and I've not been there, but all of the Italian people, they say that that's the best place. So I've met like a bunch of Italian people in London, and they say, you know, obviously they hate Pizza Hut and all that stuff, but they say this is like the only place you'll get proper Italian food. We should definitely go there if you like pizza.
I'd love to.
Cool. So we don't actually ever have to do this stuff. The point is, in her mind, she's thinking about doing these things with me. So she has, for a second, she has to think about, you know, going to the park with me, eating ice cream, watching a movie, and she's imagining all these future dates. It's done quite casually. There's not a lot of pressure there. It's just putting the thought out there, getting her to think about it, but it's doing something really powerful, which is it's getting her to imagine that we're creating something here that's going to last. When it gets to the bedroom later, and she's there with me and, you know, I'm trying to get her clothes off, she's not thinking, oh, I wonder if he'll just get rid of me in the morning and never want to see me again. She's imagining that it's the start of something, so instead of it being a one-night stand, it's just sleeping with a guy on the first night that she's going to see again. So women have a bit of a stigma, obviously, about one-night stands, but if they're going to see the guy again, it's more acceptable. So if you can remove that objection, it's pretty easy to do. And if you remove that objection, you can have a good chance of sleeping with her and that objection never coming up. Next part of conversation control is something that I use, and it's something that I have a lot of fun with. So when I'm doing this stuff, I'm laughing, I'm enjoying myself, and that's obviously presenting good qualities. But this particular technique as well ticks a lot of boxes. So what I'm doing is tongue-in-cheek romanticism. If you imagine the really cheesy Hollywood film that the girls go and watch and they're like, oh, it's so amazing, I wish that had happened to me. Oh, wow, isn't that guy sweet? If you imagine the most cheesy thing possible in a Hollywood film, you know that if you do that to a girl in real life, she'll think you're a wuss and she'll dump you, or she'll just, she won't want to see you. But she wants to feel those feelings. In some way, she kind of wants that. But there's no safe way to give it to her without, getting dumped or getting thought of as really weak. So what I do is I do it, but I do it in a tongue-in-cheek way. So I call it tongue-in-cheek romanticism. And a few examples, we might be in the club and we go out to get some fresh air, or she smokes, or I meet her in the smoking area and I'm like, baby, look at the stars. Do you know what that star is? And I want to lie down in the park with you and just look at the stars and tell you what they're all about. And I carry on that for a moment, but I'm doing it more and more ridiculously, more and more tongue-in-cheek, and then I kind of look at her like that, and I kill it all. But in the meantime, she's been thinking those romantic thoughts. What's your favourite drink, darling?
Pina colada.
Pina colada. Oh, baby, that's my favourite drink too. I think we're meant for each other. Playful, but for a second, letting her feel that really romantic feeling. Parents one, yeah? Mm-hmm. So what are you doing next week?
I've got my parents coming over for dinner.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right. Well, what time should I be there? Do they like red or white wine? I'll bring a bottle or something.
Maybe both.
Do you think they'll like me? Of course they will, right? Oh, I can't wait to meet them. So again, you're just stacking all these romantic thoughts. When do you normally meet the parents? Way later, but she's thinking about it. When you ask the question, do you think they'll like me? Do you think your dad will like me? She's going to go through that in her head. She's going to think about it. And that just automatically makes her think of this, this boyfriend stuff. And that's why I'll say right now, this is something I only do with a girl that I'm really liking. If I'm really liking her and I've decided quite quickly that she's one I want to see a few times, I'll start bringing this stuff in there. So Jazz is giving the perfect response. She's going to kind of laugh and be a bit funny with it. But, she's going to think about that. When you say it to her, she has to think about it. But you're safe doing it because you're doing it tongue-in-cheek. You don't really mean it, so you're getting away with it. So those are the 4 things that I'm doing in a conversation, but it's actually worth noticing the things that are missing. Some things that I'm not doing. I'm not DHVing. I'm not telling stories that demonstrate higher value or revealing things about myself that should make her think more of me. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to have her assume positive things, but not to overtly tell her. I feel that if you tell someone a DHV, if you tell someone you've got a nice car, if you tell someone how much money you earn, it's almost saying, it's validation seeking. It's saying, like me for this reason. No one likes to show off, and by not doing it at all, you can create a bit of mystery and also come across as quite humble when she does finally get the good information out of you. I have no verbal compliments. I'm not going to tell a girl she's beautiful. I'm not going to tell a girl she's sexy, she has nice eyes. I'm not going to say any of that. The reason that she maybe heard it all before, that applies to some compliments, but some real genuine compliments, maybe she hasn't heard it before. But what you're doing, when you tell a girl that she's beautiful or she's fantastic and telling her that, what you're doing is you're giving her all the power in the interaction. You're telling her, I like you, I hope you like me. By not mentioning anything verbally, you're not giving her that 100% certainty. She's always kept guessing. She's wondering if you think she's hot. She's wondering if you think she's interesting. because you're not telling her. That means she's going to put more work in. What I do though, is I show it non-verbally. I'll look at her like I find her sexy, like I want to kiss her. I'll be a gentleman. I'll do nice things. I'll open the door for her. I'll be polite. But the compliments won't be there at all until maybe when I get her into bed and she's naked. Or after I've slept with her. But generally not before. Something else that's missing is that I do not verbally escalate. I don't say, I want to kiss you. I don't want to say that I want to take him home. I'm not going to give him any sign verbally that things are moving forward. I'm going to escalate purely physically. A lot of guys want to talk dirty to a girl. A lot of guys want to bring out sexual subjects. A lot of guys want to ask permission to kiss. And I'm not going to do any of that. If I mention anything that's slightly sexual, it'll be done tongue-in-cheek. The reason is, any guy that verbalizes that stuff, she then knows what you're thinking. She then knows that, it's on your mind. And unlike non-verbal stuff, she knows with 100% certainty. So everything I show you non-verbally is slightly hedged. There's a smirk there. I'm not fully investing. Anytime you verbalize something, you're fully investing. God, I really just want to kiss you right now. Why tell her? Keep her guessing. Does he want to kiss me? I hope he wants to kiss me. The ideal situation you can have with this girl is, why doesn't he compliment me? I wish he would. Why doesn't he kiss me? I wish he would. Wow, I really want to sleep with him. And as soon as you verbalize it, it becomes, oh, he wants to kiss me. Do I want to kiss him? Oh, he likes me. He's giving me a compliment. Do I like him? Oh, he wants to take me home and have sex with me. Do I want to do that with him? And that's not what you want. You want her to wonder and to want it from you. You can also deal with objections in a tongue-in-cheek, romantic way. So, for example...
I can imagine that you must be a player. You must have lots of girls.
Baby, you know that's not true. You know you're the only girl for me. And this is a girl I've just met. But I'll do that and imagine what's going on. So, what else might I do? I might run into someone I know. And I'll say, oh, hey, how you doing? This is my new girlfriend. We just met 5-10 minutes. Run into someone, this is my new girlfriend. I could then run into someone else and I'll increase it even more. Say, oh, this is my fiance. I'll say to someone, don't we look good together? Don't we make a good couple? So I'm stacking all of this stuff, but she has to think about it. She has to think about, do we make a good couple? Every time I say something, it has to go through her mind. I will call her sweet pea, pumpkin, darling, baby. And it's done tongue-in-cheek. It's done so early, but it still has all those associations. It's still, everyone wants to be called that. Everyone wants to feel that stuff there. But it's safe, because if I went up to her and I honestly said, you know what, I know we've just met, but I think I'm in love with you. If I said that seriously, what's she thinking? Stalker, weirdo, nutcase,
Cheesy.
Yeah, cheesy. She's going to be really scared to give this guy a number to let him do anything. But if it's done tongue-in-cheek, it lets her feel the same emotion, the positive emotion, but with safety in there, because she knows I don't really mean it. And in some way, it kind of teases her and makes her crave the real thing. If you constantly give a woman tongue-in-cheek romanticism, what she's going to crave is real romanticism from you. She's like, why doesn't he mean it? That's what she's going to start thinking after a while. And every time you're doing it, and she's kind of, oh, he isn't joking. And she wants it to be real, but every time it's just more of the same. I also use tongue-in-cheek romanticism to promote feelings of safety and, the fact that I'm going to be there for her. So we might be outside and I'm like, oh, you're cold, darling, I'll keep you warm, don't worry. Or we're crossing a road, or people kind of, nearly spill a drink on her. I'm like, oh, baby, I'll protect you, don't worry. And it's all done like that. It's all done tongue-in-cheek. But again, you're setting yourself there as someone that will look after her and protect her. But because it's done in a non-serious way, first, you'll want it to be serious, and second, it makes it totally safe for her to just enjoy the feeling. And it's also a bit cocky funny, so you might have a situation where she gets irritated, but in a way that builds attraction. The third conversational element is probably my favourite one. In fact, it definitely is. It's the one where I'm having the most fun and I'm probably building the most attraction. And I call this the irresistible arsehole. What you're doing is you're setting yourself as that player guy, that bad boy guy, but you're doing it in a way where it's slightly tongue-in-cheek, it's not totally serious, but it's still building attraction in the same way that that guy would. So the elements that are at play here is you're being totally unpredictable, you're making her laugh, and you're creating a situation that builds attraction. When I say unpredictable, if you look at my responses, I'm going to give you a few examples, but if you look at my responses, it's never going to be the standard expected response. So she's going to be in a conversation that she expects to go a certain way because she's had it plenty of times, and it's going to keep getting thrown off track, but always in an interesting way, always in a way that builds attraction and, just gives her an experience that she's not used to having. It also shows a lot of confidence because a lot of the stuff is not that safe. It's not the safe, easy way to play things. So by doing that, you're showing that you can take it or leave it. You're showing that you're funny, you're showing that you're interesting, that you've got a different way of thinking about things. And again, it's doing that really important thing, which is giving her a unique experience that she's not going to have with other guys. She's probably never had a conversation like this. So I'm going to give you a bunch of examples right now. So sometimes a girl's talking and you could do something like this.
So did you like the film?
What?
What was your favourite part?
I don't know. What about you? What did you think?
I love pretty much everything. What was your favourite part?
What?
Why are you not talking?
Oh, sorry, I wasn't listening there. Sorry. I am a really good listener, usually. I really am. Sorry, I'm a really good listener. Sorry, carry on.
Yes.
Shut up. Often you're talking to a girl and she tries to put herself as different to the other girls. So she might say that she's, not that easy or not a slag or whatever. So
yeah, I've had a few boyfriends, but I'm not really that easy. I don't give it.
Oh, you're not? Oh no, that's terrible. What if you've had a few drinks?
No.
No? All right. So the traditional response would be good. But what you're saying is, oh no. So again, you're painting yourself as that player, the guy that just wants that easy lay. But because it's done tongue-in-cheek, she's not going to believe it. When you use a lot of this stuff on a girl, she might feel that she needs to raise her value. And the way girls often raise their value is they tell you something that you should be impressed with. So what might you say?
Well, surprised or not, I've been training to become an architect.
An architect?
Yeah, really passionate about it.
What's the point? Why don't you just quit and become a stripper? So again, she's used to the response of guys saying, oh really, an architect? Oh wow, what kind of buildings would you design? Or, what's your favourite building in London? That's what she's used to. And again, you're going to have the totally off-the-wall response. Something to put in here is that you can then go back and connect with her. So she might have said that and I make the joke of it first of all, but then I can come with the traditional response and I can try and connect with her on it. So you are going to be showing different elements, but right now I'm just showing the irresistible arsehole response, which is one element of your character that you're going to show. You know what, have you ever met one of those really horrible guys who's just an arsehole, sleeps with all the girls and never calls them again?
No.
No? Oh, it's your lucky day. I'm Richard. How are you doing?
I would probably say my worst experience was my last boyfriend. I mean, I would take him out to events with me.
Yeah.
And on a sly one, he would try and chat up all my friends and try to sleep with them.
Oh my God, that is amazing. What a baller. How cool is that? Well,
it's
cool guy.
Heartbreaking, really.
Yeah, never mind that, but it's pretty cool, you have to admit.
I used to have this friend, and I think she may have been envious, but she used to always try and sleep with all of my boyfriends and try and get them on their own. Such a slag.
Ah, that's terrible. What was her name?
Maria.
All right, cool. You still got her number? Is she on Facebook? What's
She
she up
is
to?
as well.
She's not here tonight, is she?
No. Do you have a Facebook account?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, because I'm going to add you later.
All right, I'll probably accept you, but I'm going to put you on limited profile, so you're only going to be able to see my hand.
You're not serious.
What's your name again?
Jasmile.
Jasmine, yeah? All right, cool. I'm just going to introduce you to my friends. Hey, Mark, this is Margaret. Margaret, this is Mark. All right, come meet my other friend. Bob, come and meet Nicola from pussy.com.
Oh, my.
You know what? Your skin is so soft. You feel like a slug.
Thanks. I really, really like your shirt.
Of course you do, you're only human.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it is nice, though.
Yeah, obviously. Again, not the traditional response. It's a compliment. I should give her one back. So a lot of the time a woman gives a compliment, she's fishing for one for herself, she's not going to get it. You know what? You look totally amazing.
Thanks.
Almost like a female version of me. Hey, where are you from, by the way?
Australia.
Oh, really? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Okay. So did you watch EastEnders last night?
Never mind that. Have you got a fantasy about making love in like toilet in Movida?
I didn't until now, I guess.
All right, amazing. You look different. Have you shaved your pussy? If you want to be a real irresistible arsehole, you might even do something like this. So you're going to kiss the girl. It's like kissing my mum.
Heartbroken.
The fourth element at play in my conversations is one of honesty. So if you think about tongue-in-cheek romanticism and you think about the irresistible arsehole, what they are is they're deviations from what's expected, and they're also not serious. So if you did it solely, you might be seen as a guy that is just this, this guy that just can't be serious, can't get an honest answer, and you can't find anything out about, can't connect with. And that might be fine in some situations, but something nice to include would be honesty, and that's my fourth element. So the way it goes is like this. If she asks me a question, so she might ask me if there's other women, I could use, for example, the tongue-in-cheek romantic answer. I could say, oh, no, of course not, baby. You know you're the only girl for me. Like that. Tongue-in-cheek romantic, or you might be the irresistible arsehole, and you might say, yeah, of course, You might play it up, this week, well, I don't know. I might actually have to go at 3, I've got another girl coming around. You can really play up that arsehole element, but after a time you want to be honest. So the first response could be arsehole, tongue-in-cheek, basically evasive, but evasive in a way that adds attraction. But then the second response could be the real response. So if she's asked you about whether you're a player or not, you could give that response first, and then you're going to give an honest response where you say something like, you know what, honestly, I'm dating a few girls, but I am a guy that can be monogamous, and I really like having girlfriends. When I meet a girl that I like, I don't cheat on her, I treat her really well, but in the meantime, I'll be honest, and I'll say if I'm dating other girls, and everyone will always know the whole situation. So you'll say something like that, and she'll really feel it, she'll believe it, and it's because you're showing that you're not always just saying what she wants to hear. But if you keep being evasive the whole time, she wonders what you've got to hide. So at some point, it's nice to be honest. Another example might be where she says, when she said she was training to be an architect and you were an irresistible arsehole about it, you could then back off and say, no, but seriously, I think that's really cool, actually. And then ask her a question about it and connect with it. What it means is that you're giving her, she never knows when it's going to come, but there's going to be some unpredictability. She's not going to be able to pin you down. But when it's something she cares about and something you want to connect with, or something you have a genuine opinion about, you can be honest about it. And that way you're ticking all of the boxes, and she's going to trust you. You're going to build that connection, but you're going to keep it interesting the whole time as well. So I think a lot of guys mess up when, the good example is when a girl asks, what do you do? And he says, I'm a mobile, portable cigarette lighter, disposable cigarette lighter repairman, or I'm an arse model, or whatever it is. He has these silly responses. And it all goes wrong when he wants to keep going down that, like, no, seriously, I am. I work at McDonald's, I was the employee of the month, and he keeps going down that track and he won't tell her the truth. The key thing is to only use that once as an attraction spike to make her think, oh, this guy can be funny, this guy is, interesting. But you don't want to get into the situation when she thinks you're evasive, she can't believe a word you say, and she doesn't trust you. So at some point, it's good to switch to honest. So I'll normally give one evasive response that builds attraction, and then one honest response that builds connection and trust. The third element of stealth seduction, along with micro-escalation and conversation control, is multi-level communication. This means that you're communicating on two different levels using your verbal and your non-verbal. So in most cases, your verbal is going to be pretty plain, and your non-verbal is going to be sexual. The reason for doing this is quite interesting. A good way to think about it is that girls have a good girl part and a bad girl part. So you're talking to a girl, she likes you, and her bad girl part is saying, I want to kiss this guy, I want to go home with this guy, I enjoy sex, I haven't had sex for a few weeks, I'd like to sleep with this guy. That's what her bad girl part is saying. Her good girl part is saying, my friends are going to see, I shouldn't do this, I don't want to be too easy, I don't want to be a slag, that's what's going on. So you've got this conflict in her. Girls have tripwires that provoke a big reaction. So for example, you're talking to a girl, you lunge in for the kiss, whoa, what's going on? You go and touch the boobs, whoa, what's going on? And these are tripped when you start dialing up the sexual tension in an obvious way. And she feels that there's some point that she has to say no. She feels that there's, a guy talking to her, he's just going to keep going and escalating, and at some point she's going to have to say, whoa, stop, all right? Multi-level communication is a way of removing the no. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be talking to the good girl part and the bad girl part at the same time, so that both are happy with the situation. I'm going to give you an example. So I might be talking to a girl and I might just be saying, oh yeah, so what are you doing tomorrow?
Just going to be with the girls.
Oh, that's interesting. What are you going to do with them? Just going to have a drink and stuff?
Yeah, watch a movie.
Oh, that's cool. What kind of movie do you normally like to watch?
Chick flick.
Chick flicks. Oh, that's cool. How's this verbal interaction? Very, very boring. But what's going on behind the scenes? If we reverse it and just replay it again. So what are you up to tomorrow?
I'm with the girls tomorrow.
Uh-huh. What are you up to?
Watching a film.
Oh, really?
Just chilling.
What kind of film do you normally watch with them?
Girly chick flicks.
Uh-huh. Oh, that's cool. What, like Hugh Grant and stuff?
Oh,
okay, cool. Yeah, I've seen a couple that I like. Generally, I don't like them, but sometimes I'm surprised. I watch one and I quite like it.
It's always good.
So what we've got going on is boring verbal conversation that doesn't provoke a no. But you've got the non-verbal going on that increases the sexual tension. What this means is you can escalate non-verbally more than you would if you did both together. So for example, if I was talking to her, I'm like, oh really? And I started touching her, she might be, whoa, you're moving too quickly. But if I'm breaking eye contact and I'm very poker-faced in my verbal game, I'm able to do a lot of stuff non-verbally. The other thing that it deals with is the worry about other people in the room. You're all watching this and you didn't know what was going on before. So she knows that. She knows that her friends won't see, other people in the club won't see, so she'll accept it. This allows you to do some really cool stuff. Something that is very attractive to women is when you're touching them up or you're sexually escalating in public, but in a way that other people can't see. So if you've got a girlfriend, this could be, at dinner, doing stuff under the table, and, this is something that all girls like, this is something that really turns them on. You can use multi-level communication to do some really crazy stuff. You could be in a club and you're talking to a girl and her friend, and you could be touching up her bum and no one will know. You could even put your hand up her skirt, down her jeans. You could do that, and if you do it slowly and you're seeming to have a cool interaction with everyone else, she's just going to enjoy the turn on and never feel she needs to say no, because you're in control and you're being subtle with it, and you're satisfying her nice girl part and her bad girl part. I've been able to do things that I wouldn't be able to do if I did it in the normal way. So for example, to walk up to a girl and put your hands up her skirt in a club, and do it and be really full on about it in front of her friends, in front of people she knows, it's not going to happen. But if you're doing it and she knows no one else can see, and she sees that you're in control of yourself, she'll be fine with it. The reason why it works is that women are generally triggered to response to a man's, we could say, sleazy or overtly sexual face. So for example, touching a girl's bum like a gay dude would, oh, let me see, oh yeah, that's a nice bum, and feeling it like that. Are your boobs real? And feeling them like that. She'll be fine with a gay dude doing that. So it's not the actual touch that provokes the negative response, it's the guy's face. It's normally that he's like, and she sees his face and she's like, I don't want you getting off on touching me. Fuck off, She's seeing his face, is seeing him being sleazy, getting off on it, and feeling that there's something too sexual going on that she's objecting to. So a reason why it works is that she can't see that in you. You're fine with it. It also must generate attraction because it shows a degree of you being able to take it or leave it, that you're not so attached to it. So you're just doing it like it's no big deal. I've had a situation where I've been sitting between two girls in a party, two girls that I've never kissed before, and I've had one girl where my arm's been round her and her hair's just like this, and my thumb can slip inside and play with her nipple inside her top. And the other girl's sitting, leaning forward, and I've got my hand down the back of her jeans, and they both know what's going on, and they're both looking at each other going like that. And I'm having a normal conversation with the guy. Oh, really? So, yeah, have you been to that club before? Oh, this is cool. How long are you in London? We're in a nice hotel room of this dude, and I'm with the two girls, and he doesn't know what's going on. It's just a friendly thing, because I'm like this, and they're just sitting there going, looking at each other like, I can't believe this is happening. Those girls would not let me do that if we were the only people in the room, and they wouldn't let me do it if it was what I'd call a full communication. It's split, it's called multi-level communication, because my non-verbal is 100% escalation, my verbal is 0, so it balances out. They would not let me do it if I was like, yeah, baby, you like it, don't you? Yeah. And I was given a full communication. They wouldn't like that I'm getting off on it, they wouldn't like that it's dirty. Okay, so it takes away all of the negative elements when you split it into two, and you take away the verbal side, so it's just a physical escalation. The fourth step in the system is stealth arousal. What we're going to be doing here is we're going to be using some kino stuff, some sleazy funny kino, and the goal of this is to create real spikes in arousal. It's going to be the type of stuff that she's never had done to her before. So the key thing here is that you're going to do something very sexual and something that hasn't been done before, and that is employing the same elements that run throughout of playfulness, secrecy, and confidence. So a few examples. You might be talking to a girl and you want a way to touch her boobs. So you might have your drink and you're going to brush past, you're going to drink your drink. I'm brushing past with the back of my hand and also the arm, and there's quite a lot of contact there. So you can do it with the drink. You can do it, just as, you're touching your face or whatever. So you can do a lot of things to incidentally brush past. You can, do things like that. You can also be leading her and brush the boobs with the back of your arm. And just a little bit of movement makes the difference between an arm that is just there and an arm that is doing something. Probably what you want to happen is the first time you do it, she doesn't really notice, because women are used to their boobs touching things. If they brush past people in the club or, brush past a wall or whatever, it's not strange to have this happen. So first time you want it to be, oh, I'm not even noticing it. Second time you want her to think, is he doing that? What's going on there? And then the third time she might catch a look in your eye and she's like that. And in that moment her heart rate increases and she's like, her eyes widen, and you know you've got something there. You can also touch her in a more intimate place in a few different ways. So best way to do it is like this. If you look at the distance between her hand and this area, it's pretty close. Okay, so we might be in somewhere and we're going to go for a little walk, so we're going to go to the bar, we're going to go and dance or whatever. Let's go and dance. And my first touch misses. So I'm going in front to take the lead, and I'm reaching back, but I'm touching here first, and then I'm moving and getting the hand. All right? If she does look at me, I'm not getting off on it. That's key. I'm not going like that. That might provoke a bad response. I'm kind of like this. So it's ambiguous whether I'm just smiling generally or whether, I know what I'm doing. Either way, it's going to be cool. When you're in a club and you need to get close to her because it's noisy, you can often position yourself so that one leg is between her legs, and you can be talking to her, and you can have a lot of incidental touch going on the inside of the thigh and slightly higher, just like this. Girls, when they're in the club, they either wear jeans or they wear a dress. And if they're wearing jeans, there's a few different things I want to do. And this is something, next thing I want to teach you is something that I've done 20, 30 times. It's tried and tested. And sometimes I'll do it to the same girl multiple times in a short space of time. I want to be quite close and I'm talking to her. And what I want to do is I want to have a hand somewhere around here and another hand high up on her arm, on her shoulder, something like that. I want to increase the pressure of my touch on her shoulder, and at the same time, with my left hand, I want to just undo the jeans. So what she's getting is a slight squeeze on the shoulder. It's drawing her attention there, and then she's not noticing that happen. So in 95% of cases, you're going to be able to undo that top button just by distracting her and doing it with one hand, and she won't even notice. The next step, if you want to take it a bit further, you go back to talking normally, and then you might distract her again. The next step is to lift up the zip, because when the zip is in the down position, it's locked, and when it's in the up position, it's free. So you want to lift up the zip without looking at it. So you'd be talking to her, and just going to lift up the zip, and then you might leave it again for a bit. Then you go back, and you might distract her again. You can actually undo the zip. All right, so you've actually got to a point where you can undo a girl's jeans and she won't even have noticed. Most girls do not wear, they wear underwear. That's not what I was going to say. They don't wear belts, so it makes it quite easy to do that. Now at this point, she's either going to notice and she's going to be like, whoa, what happened? But she won't notice you. Or you can draw her attention to it. Hang on a minute, what the hell's going on? And you can cause a little moment with a little smirk, so she might think it's you. Or the third option is you could now put your hand down the back of her jeans, and it's going to work because there's a lot more space. Girls wear very tight jeans, so it's impossible to do it a lot of the time when they're done up, but you'll be able to do it because there's now space because you've undone them. At some point, she's going to realise this happened. You can do a lot of funny things with this, so you might have done it multiple times. There was a girl recently that she stayed the night, and then we were saying goodbye at the station, and I'd undone her jeans, and there was a policeman there. And I was like, all right, I'll see you later. Hang on, what's that? I was like, officer, look. And she's got a policeman staring as she does up her trousers. And she's like, oh! And she comes over and hits me like that. But again, it's the perfect response. And how many times has that happened in that girl's life? Never happened. So let's do it up, sorry. So again, and to undo it, I mean, it's pretty easy and you can practice it, but all you're doing is you're gripping your thumb at the top and your index finger there, and you're just bringing them together and letting it slide out. So just pinching and bringing it together, and it's nice and easy. And because because the zip's still done up, she doesn't feel much of a release of tension. And by being distracting with your other hand and touching her somewhere with a slightly firmer grip, it's just like the guy, the old pickpocket that's talking to someone. He wants to steal the watch, he's holding the wrist, and he does something here or something there, and then the watch is gone, and then he's back like that. So it's like the old pickpocket trick. But I've used this tons of times, and again, what it's doing is it's giving a woman an interaction that she's never had before. It's creating a sexual spike, and it's something that shows a lot of confidence, but also with the playfulness. So it's not sleazy, it's sleazy funny. A couple other things that you can do if she's wearing jeans that are quite funny. You could do something like this. So you could say, oh, these are nice. Oh, it's a really nice material, isn't it? It's really like soft. Is it the same material at the back?
Yeah.
And she'll be like, whoa, like that. But again, it's done playfully, it's funny. Often you're talking to a girl, you might be sitting down and she's got something on her jeans, so she might have a bit of fluff. And you'll be like, oh, you've got something there. I think there's some. And you just carry on doing it, and then you make it a bit sexual. And at some point she's like, whoa, what are you doing? That's actually one situation where you want her to kind of pull your hand away, like, whoa, what are you doing? But you're doing it playfully, and you're just saying, let's just have a little bit of sexual fun, a little bit of sexual tension. But it shows a lot of confidence to do that touch. But you can do it without fear of rejection. I mean, if you're talking to a girl and you're talking to her and then you suddenly want to, get in there and grab her leg, if you do it like that, you're really in a situation where she could be angry. But in this situation, because you're doing it at first, in a safe way, oh, you've got something there. You actually do. Got something there, and then you get a bit closer, you're still getting that response, but it's done. She's going to go, and she's going to smile. Okay, so it's going to be a big difference from when you're doing it like that, and if she responds negatively, it just being a negative response. This is something where she's going to enjoy the playfulness of it. If she's not wearing jeans, she's probably wearing a dress. And I've got specific things that I like to do when a girl's wearing a dress, and some of these might be pretty out there, but again, what you have to think about is you're giving her a unique experience. So here's something that I might do. I'll be talking to a girl, and think about where this might be placed. You're not going to do this in the first 30 seconds necessarily, all right? But at some point, it might even be after you've kissed her, you might want to do something like this. So I'm going to be talking to her, and my hands are going to be by her side just as I'm talking. What I want to do is I want to lift up the material of her dress slightly, an inch or so. I then want to take hold of the knickers underneath, and I want to pull them down. Just a couple of inches, but she'll feel it. And it's something that she's probably never felt before, because you wouldn't think it's possible to pull a girl's knickers down when she's got her dress on. So again, if I tried to do it, if her dress was straight and I just tried to pull it down there, I can't, because there's, the fabric won't give. So the first step is just to raise it up a little bit, which she probably won't notice, take hold, and then just pull it down there. And within a couple of goes, they could actually be taken all the way down. But in most cases, what you're doing is you're just demonstrating here. The only goal really is to demonstrate that you're a sexual guy, that you're playful with it, and that you're doing something that's really, quite crazy, and that most guys would never try or wouldn't be smooth enough to be able to do. It's also something that no one else in the room will be aware of. So she's like, this guy's just taken my knickers off. No one else knows about it. Oh my God, it's going to be a big turn on. You might want to do a little bit more than that. In this kind of area, so the inside of her leg, you've got the kind of triangle of her underwear. And if you can grab through the dress, that area, and just give it little tugs, what you're actually going to be doing is you're going to be stimulating her, again, without anyone seeing, without you having your hand in an obvious place, just from the side, but something that she'll really take note of. So I did this once, and people that are my Facebook friends, I put the message up there, I blanked out the name and everything, but it was from this girl, and she was saying, can't believe you pulled at my knickers. Can't believe you did that. You know, what are you up to? She wanted to meet me. If you think about, you know, a girl that goes out and she's in a club and she meets loads of different guys, what you're doing when you're doing stuff like this, you're just stacking the things that no other guy has done. You're showing sexual confidence, you're showing, you know, ingenuousness and, you know, that real difference, but also sexuality and confidence, but not sleaziness, because it's done playfully. You know, anytime you do this, my expression on my face is like that. When she catches me, I'm like, you know, I'm playful with it. So the worst you'll get is like that, you know. It's something that's going to work really, really well. Something else, I'm going to take it down a notch from there. Okay, so I'm going to teach some more, by comparison, mundane stuff, but still some really powerful things. A lot of the time, you know, a woman's standing there and she's got her arms by her side. And something I've come up with is something called the non-ambiguous touch. So, ambiguity referring to whether it's a sexual touch or not. If you think about it, you could talk to a girl for half an hour, you could be touching her here, you could be putting your arm around her, hand on the back, you know, check out something here, and you could touch her a lot, but she might not get the idea that it's sexual. So she might, after half an hour, tell you she's got a boyfriend, or you might find out you've been wasting your time, or you might just not build enough sexual tension by doing that. There are a few touches that are really easy to execute, but will tell you very quickly if a girl is sexually interested. If I touch her here and she lets me, it doesn't tell me if she's sexually interested or not. So if I'm talking to her, my hand just touches her like this, my back of the hand against her back of the hand. So just so you can see, it's just going to be a little touch like that. So as we're talking, touching like this, she has a few different responses. She could reciprocate and start playing with my fingers, which is, you know, it's totally on if that happens. That means she's ready to be kissed, without a doubt. Second response is she's just comfortable with it. Again, a very good response. The worst response possible, think about this, the worst possible response is she does this. You know, I'm touching her like that. She's not comfortable with it. Oh, not a big deal at all. So again, when I talk about things being, you know, not having to worry about rejection, being totally confident, that's again something you can do with total confidence, because the worst that can happen is she just moves her hand away. And then you can back off, try some other stuff, and maybe try again later. Another non-ambiguous touch, and again, these all fall into the category where they're sexual. They're not a massive escalation, but they give you a very clear answer to whether she's sexually interested or not. Second one would be the leg touching. So anytime you're talking to her and you've got a leg touch, it feels quite sexual, doesn't it?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah? So this is not how you'd touch a guy. This is not, you know, how you touch a girl that you're just not interested in, that you're just having a casual chat to. As soon as I start doing that and she's fine with it, it means she's sexually interested. If she's not, again, it's just a simple step away rather than a, what are you doing, you know, slap in the face moment. So you're getting a very clear answer, but with a very small escalation. Some other things I like to do if I'm in the club, I might be talking to a girl and I might be leaning against something and I'm talking to her, and that's a position that you see in a lot of pickup stuff. It's called, you know, being locked in, where she seems like she's gaming you. And something I like to do is I might have my hands by my side and I'll just take my leg and I'll bring her in. And it normally brings her close enough to kiss. So you often get the kiss. She's putting her weight on you because you're taking her off balance. And you're controlling her, but not in a really physically dominant way. You're only using your leg, not your hands. So for her, it could be quite a turn.